You feel it, but you cannot name it. Something shifted around 37 or 38 and has been sliding ever since. The edge you used to have is duller. The energy that used to carry you through a full day now runs out by mid-afternoon. Your belly grew even though your diet did not change. Your sleep is lighter, your recovery is slower, and your motivation to do things that used to excite you has quietly flatlined. You blame the job, you blame age, you blame stress. But the real problem is not what life is doing to you. It is what you're doing to yourself every single day, through 7 ordinary habits that are systematically dismantling the hormone that holds all of this together: testosterone. Testosterone is not just a sex hormone. It regulates energy, mood, motivation, fat distribution, muscle maintenance, cognitive clarity, and sleep quality. When it is optimal, everything runs. When it declines, everything declines with it. And after 35, the body is already losing testosterone at roughly 1% to 2% per year through natural biological aging. That decline on its own is manageable. What makes it unmanageable is stacking daily habits on top of it that accelerate the loss. Most men have no idea these habits are even a factor. They are not dramatic vices. They are quiet, ordinary behaviors that were harmless at 25 but become hormonal sabotage after 35. The most destructive one is chronic sleep deprivation, not from insomnia, but from choice. Staying up past midnight, scrolling a phone, watching one more episode, answering emails. At 25, 5 or 6 hours of sleep felt like enough. After 35, it is a direct testosterone killer. Research from the University of Chicago showed that men who slept 5 hours per night for 1 week experienced a 10 to 15% drop in testosterone levels compared to when they slept 8 hours. That is the equivalent of aging 10 to 15 years in 1 week of short sleep. The mechanism is straightforward. The largest pulse of testosterone production happens during deep sleep in the first half of the night. Cut the sleep window short, and you cut the production window short. There is no supplement that compensates for this. Sleep is the single highest leveraged testosterone intervention available, and it costs nothing except the discipline to turn the screen off. If you are averaging under 7 hours, the cumulative testosterone debt you are building is measurable and progressive. Every week of short sleep digs the hole deeper, and the body does not catch up on weekends. The debt only clears through consistent nightly deep sleep of 7 to 8 hours. But even if you sleep enough hours, what you do in the last hour before bed can undermine the quality of that sleep entirely. Blue light from phones, laptops, and televisions suppresses melatonin production, which delays the onset of deep sleep, which shortens the testosterone production window even when total sleep duration looks adequate. Eliminating screens for 30 minutes before bed, or at minimum using blue light blocking glasses with amber lenses after sunset, protects the melatonin signal that makes deep sleep possible. The difference between shallow sleep and deep sleep, in terms of testosterone output, is enormous. 8 hours of shallow, fragmented sleep can produce less testosterone than 6 hours of uninterrupted deep sleep. Then there is the habit that most men consider healthy: excessive cardio, long runs, spin classes, daily HIIT sessions. At 25, intense cardio boosted metabolism and burned fat efficiently. After 35, prolonged intense cardio floods the body with cortisol. And cortisol does not simply coexist with testosterone. It actively competes with it. Both hormones are built from the same precursor molecule, pregnenolone. When the body is under physical stress from chronic cardio, it prioritizes cortisol production and diverts resources away from testosterone. The result is a man who trains hard, eats clean, and still watches his body get softer and more fatigued. The fix is not stopping exercise entirely. It is shifting the balance. Heavy compound resistance training, squats, deadlifts, presses, rows, 3 to 4 times per week triggers an acute testosterone spike that cardio does not. Walking on rest days keeps cortisol low while supporting insulin sensitivity. The combination of lifting heavy and walking daily produces a hormonal profile that hours of cardio never will. Another habit hiding in plain sight is drinking alcohol regularly. Not binge drinking, not alcoholism, just the 2 or 3 beers after work, the glass of wine with dinner, the weekend drinks with friends. Alcohol increases aromatase activity, the enzyme that converts testosterone into estrogen. It also directly suppresses the Leydig cells in the testes, which are the cells responsible for manufacturing testosterone. And it impairs liver function, which means the body becomes less efficient at clearing the estrogen that aromatase is producing. The net effect is lower testosterone, higher estrogen, and a body that increasingly stores fat in the pattern associated with estrogen dominance, belly, chest, and lower back. Even moderate alcohol consumption, 3 to 4 drinks per week, has been shown to measurably lower free testosterone in men over 35. Cutting alcohol to near zero for 90 days is one of the fastest ways to see a noticeable shift in energy, body composition, and mental clarity. Most men underestimate how much moderate drinking is affecting them because the effects are chronic, not acute. You do not feel dramatically different after 3 beers on Friday, but the liver spends the next 48 to 72 hours processing the alcohol instead of clearing estrogen and metabolizing fat. Multiply that by every weekend for a decade, and the hormonal cost is staggering. The 90-day elimination is not permanent. It is a reset that allows the liver to clear its backlog and shows you what your body actually feels like when the hormonal system is not constantly being disrupted by ethanol processing. There's a dietary habit that seems responsible but backfires badly after 35. Eating low fat. For decades, fat was demonized. But testosterone is synthesized from cholesterol, which comes from dietary fat. When fat intake drops too low, the body runs short on the raw material needed to produce testosterone. Men who consume less than 20% of their calories from fat consistently show lower testosterone levels than men who eat 30 to 40% from fat. The fats that matter most are monounsaturated fats from olive oil, avocados, and nuts, saturated fats from eggs and red meat in reasonable quantities, and omega-3 fats from fatty fish. These are not indulgences. They are the substrate your endocrine system needs to manufacture hormones. A breakfast of egg whites and dry toast is hormonally inferior to whole eggs cooked in butter with avocado on the side. The calories may be similar, but the hormonal output is completely different. A simple target is ensuring at least 30% of daily calories come from fat, with emphasis on monounsaturated and saturated sources. Tracking for a few days often reveals that men who think they eat enough fat are actually well below this threshold, especially those who have internalized the low fat is healthy messaging that dominated nutrition advice for decades. Most men over 35 spend the majority of their waking hours sitting. Desk job, car commute, couch in the evening. Prolonged sitting compresses the pelvic region and reduces blood flow to the testes, which directly impairs testosterone production. It also keeps the body in a low-energy state where metabolic rate drops and insulin sensitivity decreases. Standing up and moving for just 5 minutes every hour has been shown to significantly improve metabolic markers and circulation. A standing desk, a walking meeting, or simply setting a timer to stand and move every 45 to 60 minutes during the workday creates a cumulative effect that adds up over weeks. It is not a replacement for exercise, but it removes a persistent drag on the system that most men never realize is there. The last habit is one that most men would never connect to testosterone: chronic dehydration. Not dramatic dehydration, but the low-grade kind that comes from drinking mostly coffee and very little water throughout the day. Even mild dehydration, a 2% reduction in body water, has been shown to increase cortisol output. And as the cortisol-testosterone competition has already made clear, higher cortisol means lower testosterone. The fix is simple. Aim for roughly half your body weight in ounces of water daily. If you weigh 180 pounds, that is approximately 90 ounces, spread throughout the day. Front-load water intake in the morning when cortisol is naturally high, and the body needs hydration after overnight fasting. Reduce fluid intake in the last hour before bed to minimize nighttime urination. Coffee counts partially toward hydration, but not fully, as caffeine has a mild diuretic effect. Water is the baseline. Everything else is supplementary. A simple test. If your urine is consistently dark yellow by noon, you are chronically underhydrated, and your cortisol is paying for it. Clear to light yellow indicates adequate hydration. This is not complicated science. It is one of the easiest metrics to self-monitor and one of the most commonly ignored. There's a compounding effect worth understanding across all 7 of these habits. They do not simply add up, they multiply. Poor sleep raises cortisol. High cortisol increases belly fat. Belly fat produces more aromatase. More aromatase converts more testosterone to estrogen. Lower testosterone reduces motivation to exercise. Less exercise means more sitting. More sitting impairs circulation and metabolic rate, and the cycle reinforces itself. This is why a man who has 3 or 4 of these habits running simultaneously feels so much worse than the sum of the individual parts would suggest. The hormonal system is an interconnected network, and disrupting any node sends ripple effects through the entire system. None of these 7 habits feels like a major problem on its own. That is exactly why they are so effective at compounding damage over time. A few short nights of sleep, a daily coffee habit on an empty stomach, 3 beers on the weekend, an hour of cardio instead of lifting, a low-fat breakfast, 10 hours of sitting, not enough water. Each one shaves a small percentage off testosterone production. Stack all 7 together, day after day for years, and the cumulative decline is dramatic enough to change how you look, how you feel, and how you function. The good news is that each habit is reversible. Pick the one that hit closest to home and change it for 2 weeks. Then add the next. Your body is not broken. It is responding accurately to the signals you are sending it. Change the signals and the output changes with them. The body was never the problem. The instructions it was receiving were.